Welcome. We're going to start the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. Sorry we're running a couple minutes late. But I'd like to call up our folks for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, students. Good evening, First President Hansen, Superintendent Bada, Miss Allen, members of the board. My name is Matt Turkey, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, and it's my great pleasure to be here tonight to honor the 13th Annual Vula Steinberg Memorial Scholarship recipients. I would like to thank our winning students and congratulate them on their achievements. These students have learned from their mistakes, they've worked hard, and they've persevered, and they've really exemplified the mathematical mindset that we want to build in all of our students. I would also like to acknowledge the teachers and the coaches and the administration at the schools who have supported and encouraged our students to do their very best. You're truly the heroes of our educational system. Finally, I would like to thank the very first and most important teachers of our students, the parents and the families. Without your love, support, and guidance, they would not be here today being the celebrated scholars that they are. So thank you. David Steinberg endowed the Vula Steinberg Mathematics Scholarship Program at the CSUS Department of Mathematics and Statistics to the memory of his wife, Vula Steinberg. Vula Steinberg was a devoted and brilliant math teacher at Kennedy High School and an alumna of the CSUS Department of Mathematics and Statistics. Vula Steinberg was instrumental in establishing the Mathletes competition in the Sacramento region. Each year, the Department of Mathematics and Statistics presents the Vula Steinberg Memorial Scholarships to our middle and high school Mathletes winners. Dr. David Ziegler, Chair of the Department of Mathematics and Statistics at California State University, Sacramento, will present the Vula Steinberg Memorial Scholarships to our winning students. Dr. Ziegler, thank you very much for being here today. I will now call out the names of the winning students to be presented with certificates by First President Hansen and awards by Dr. Ziegler. Okay, so we're going to start off with the middle school top scorers by school. So if I could invite up, first of all, from Sam Brannan, Max Badal. Max. Next up, from Albert Einstein, is Anna McFatter. And from Leonardo da Vinci, we have two joint winners, Alex Danuzzo and David Richards. And from the School of Engineering and Sciences, we have Rafael Alvarez. From Sutter Middle School, we have Christian Hernandez. And from Wilsey Wood, we have Tannen Fan. One of our students who could not be here tonight is Andrea Valenzuela from Rosa Parks. We're now going on to our top scorers in both the 7th and 8th grade across the entire district. So, we have, first of all, in 7th grade, Aidan Antos from Sutter with 94 points. Aidan. And our highest 8th grade scorer is Christian Hernandez with 101 points, also from Sutter. Christian. If you're wondering what they have in the envelopes, by the way, so the middle school top scorers get $100 each, pretty good. And then for the entire district across the grade level, $200. So it's pretty great. Thank you, Dr. Ziegler. Okay, so now we're going on to our high school participants. And by grade level, I'd like to invite up from West Campus, Philip Kim. We're now going to go straight to our top scorers. Our top scorer in 10th grade, Top scorer in 9th grade is Francis Feng from JFK. Francis. And if I can now invite up once more our 10th grade top scorer, Philip Kim. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's appreciate our winners one more time. Thank you very much.
Okay. Come on, photobomb up here. I'll participate finally. Yes, exactly. You gotta get closer though.
You're supposed to be down there.
No. You're supposed to be like, hey. See, and we're for sure gonna come out. We'll just pop out. I think we're in all of those.
I think you're in.
I'm in the back of
Oh, congratulations again to all the students and the families, and special thanks to the teachers and the staff who help produce these great mathletes. Congratulations again to everybody. And we go to Jerry. Any announcements of action in closed session?
None, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion for the agenda adoption? Do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. The ayes have it, I think. There we go. Thank you. Very well. And then we are on to a special presentation. I'd like to call up the Sacramento City Educational Foundation. We have Nancy and Sam and guests. Great. Come on up.
Great. Well, I'm Nancy Findyson with the Sacramento City Educational Foundation, and another board member, Larkin Penrose, and Alice Levine. It was just wonderful to be here and see the students recognized. I really appreciate that, and to see that Willa Steinberg was still being recognized. My son had the privilege of having her as a teacher when he was at Kennedy High School, so it was really special. Back in the late 1980s, I happened to be sitting in a seat like you when I was on the school board. We formed the Sacramento City Educational Foundation, and it's been in existence since that time, but we have now become, we are no longer operational, but during our tenure we supported science projects, arts and music, literacy programs, and we had a special project with Donors Choose, where we were able to match funds to help teachers in classrooms on the projects, the innovative projects that they wanted to carry out. So we're proud of our heritage and the legacy we've left with the district, but now it's time to move on. We're no longer operational, and we were delighted to learn that you have another foundation, Sacramento Unified Education Foundation. We're sort of the same names. And so it's our privilege today to we have closed the accounts of the foundation, and so we'd like to present the remaining assets of the foundation and checks for $53,902.25 to the Sacramento Unified Education Foundation. It's really our privilege, and we're so glad that this legacy is carrying on, and we expect good things. We did ask that, and we do ask that respectfully, that since we've focused on arts and music and literature, that the funds be invested half in music education and half in school libraries. So we know that there'll be good investments and that you'll spend it wisely. So I'm pleased to turn this over to Sam, who assures me he will get it in the bank and do good things with it.
So, on behalf of the Sacramento Unified Education Foundation, Superintendent Jose Banda, our board, we would like to thank the foundation for this generous gift. And as I was sharing with them, we will pull them out of retirement when we dole out the money. And so we extend that offer to this board as well to come and see the good work that we can do with it. So again, on behalf of our board, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your many years of contributions to our students and to our staff as well. Very, very much appreciated. Janet, I guess we come to you next for public comment. Ask if there's any, pardon me, learning here on the fly. Yes, Member Cochran.
Just briefly, thank you so much, not just for the contribution that you made tonight by moving the funds over to the foundation, but also for the years of work and support of the students in Sacramento City Unified. It's an arc of huge achievement. Thank you very much.
Very good. We'll move on to 8.0, public comment.
We have 4 public comments tonight, and the first 2 are from Nikki Malevsky and Jason Weiner.
Good evening. I'm Nikki Malevsky, president of SCTA. With the election fewer than 3 weeks away, I'm pleased to report that we're working very hard to continue to ensure the district remains in its best financial shape in its history to pass Proposition 55 and Measure G. Passing those initiatives will make it easier to obtain our goal of making Sac City the destination district in California. Our negotiations got off to a bit of a rocky start, which forced us to lose an entire bargaining session. In our view, because the personal agenda of the district's outside attorney. Our second bargaining session was more productive. We appreciate that the district does not intend to reduce the level of benefits or shift costs of health benefits expenses to retirees or actives. And the withdrawal of the district's proposal to eliminate 20% of our bargaining unit by trying to strip substitutes out of SCTA certainly helps reset our negotiations so that we can have a rich and meaningful discussion regarding how to make Sac City the destination district. We look forward to discussing revising Appendix D and how special education services are delivered in the district, completely revamping professional learning so that it actually meets the needs of our teachers in the classroom, working on an early academic intervention program, reducing unnecessary and redundant testing and test prep, implementing and creating a bottom-up restorative practices culture, providing for adequate supplies and modern textbooks for our students as well as technology, talking about how to achieve operational competency in the district, including how to increase enrollment and revamping our enrollment processes, creating standards for charter schools, independent charter schools, reducing class sizes kindergarten through 12, making art and music available for all of our students, and recruiting and retaining the best staff who reflect the wonderful diversity of our district. This negotiations is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create real change for the better of our district. We look forward to working with your team to accomplish this shared goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, and thank you, members of the board. My name is Jason Weiner. I spoke with you at your last meeting. If you remember, I'm a parent in the district of 3 children at LDV. And I'm here to talk about the same topic we did last time, which is the importance of making sure the community understands the accountability that and the plans for spending of Measure G, which is just such a crucial measure on the ballot in just 3 weeks away. And as we presented then, we have a draft plan for ensuring that accountability by making it a different way for how the money is going to be allocated and spent, and the transparency of that effort will be much more than has been in some past experiences. And in this case, I'm here to bring you a letter that outlines some of the key points of that plan. Because time is so short before the election, we know that the board is not able to take official action, but we ask that you carefully read this letter, which we will provide you. There was a little bit of a printing error, and we don't have copies for you immediately, but we will make sure you have it by the end of this evening. And we will follow up with you to ask for your signature on this. And I ask you now to consider it carefully and sign it so that we're able to share with the community that whether it's the full board or majority of board members or at least a substantial minority, are in support of this kind of transparent accountability for the money they're asking people to contribute to the district. Again, ACT is out there in support, and I think you'll hear a little bit more from my colleagues about how we're out there in the community promoting Measure G, as is SCTA, as are other groups, and board members as well. But I would say in my conversations with people, including just last night, I was tabling at an event for Measure G, and people have come up to me consistently and asked, how can we trust that the money will be spent the way that it is intended? And this, we believe, is one way. And committing to a letter that details some of that commitment, I think, will help the voters understand that trust. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and good work.
The next 2 speakers are Bina Lefkowitz and Maria Rios.
Good evening. Bina Lefkowitz. I'm a former parent of two students. I'm still their parent, but they're former students in the district. And I am here. I've been working on Measure G and trying to get out the vote and making phone calls and talking with people in the community. And the purpose of Measure G resonates with people. They understand the need. But I'm sad to say that we are talking with people, a lot of people who feel like they can't trust the district, and they really want to make sure that the funds are going to be used the way that they're described in the measure. And when we talk with people about the accountability plan, I think that helps some people feel more confident that the funds would be used at the school sites, that the committee that's going to be created would have some authority and not just be a rubber stamp. And that is really important to people. So your signing this letter would help us get the vote out and get people to support this measure. So just ask you to please, if you would be willing to sign the letter, I think it will help in our efforts in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maria, and I am the coordinator for the phone banks for Yes on Measure G. We are working with students from a variety of schools, from Tuesdays to Thursdays, 4 to 8 p.m. And we have been getting some concerns from some of the voters, asking how will we be sure that the funds are being used appropriately. So we told them that an oversight committee will be in place to make sure of that, but we came here to let you know that we really need that trust, and we hope that you will do that for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Member Ryan?
I want to start by thanking Sacramento Area Congregation Together for their tireless efforts on behalf of Measure G. You've been out walking on behalf of the measure, phoning and sharing the word with your network. I want to also acknowledge the concerns that both Sacramento Area Congregation Together have expressed and constituents in the community have shared. And thank you to the students as well for dedicating your time and energy to try and help us successfully pass this important measure. I will say, unlike the bond, we are not required by law to have a citizens oversight committee, but the reality is the spirit of upholding our commitment to the community requires a willingness to say it doesn't matter what the law dictates, we are going to do the right thing, and transparency and accountability and student-centered action makes sense. And so on that account, we created our Parcel Tax Committee, a citizens oversight committee that is written into the resolution, as you know, that we hope will be comprised of a diverse group of stakeholders really well positioned to guard with integrity how these resources are spent. Beyond that, I have had an opportunity to sit down with Sacramento Area Congregation Together, look at their proposal and provide feedback. I know the rest of my board members have not had the opportunity to do that yet. I hope that after they have thoroughly reviewed what I believe is a reasonable and well-crafted plan for creating the accountability and transparency necessary to safeguard these dollars and ensure that our community feels comfortable that supporting Measure G is the right thing to do. I hope they'll join me in signing the commitment to adhere to the principles of the accountability framework that they've put forward.
Thank you very much. Item 9.0, consent calendar. Oh, do we have somebody, pardon me, Member Cochran?
So I have met with ACT. I have not seen the final draft of the document. I can't say I'll sign anything until I see what it finally says, but after meeting with you, I am 99.9% sure I'm going to put my signature on that document. I'm excited to see it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, seeing no other board comments, we're on item 9.0, the consent calendar. Do I have a motion? And a second? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. We're on 10.1, Mr. Castillo. Come on over.
Good evening, Vice President Henson, Deputy Allen, and members of the board. The goal of the presentation tonight is to update the board and the community about that open liability that will be that has been completed and will be presented by Ms. McLeod, and also update the board and the community about our trust funds that have been invested by CalPERS, and that will be presented by Mr. Goss. Our goal of the presentation under the new strategic plan is under family and community empowerment and operational excellence. What we'll discuss tonight is the evaluation summary and fund status for the other post-employment benefits. And then Mr. Goss will discuss the California Employers Benefit Trust, CERBT, and including the investment results and the cost.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. As you can tell, I woke up without a voice today, so I was pretty happy to remember that there'd be a microphone.
Makes you sound more serious.
Yes, kind of Lauren Bacall. So I'm going to start by just using some terminology. On the slide here, we see the present value of benefits. That is the total collected value of future benefits expected to be paid to retirees and current active employees. It's not the actual dollar value. Each future payment has been discounted back from the year it's going to be paid back to July 2015. So the actual dollar outlay will be considerably greater than $866 million. Once that value is established, the actuary's job is then to allocate those costs between different service years. So the portion of that cost that's allocated to prior years that retirees and active employees have worked is called the actuarial accrued liability. And as of July 1, 2015, we put a value of about $619 million on that liability. The portion of that benefit value allocated to the current year of service being worked is called the normal cost, and that number is just under $20 million. So the logical purpose of GASB 45 is to come up with a systematic way to either recognize the expense or to fund the expense over a rational period of time. And that's what the annual required contribution represents. It's the current year's cost accrual, normal cost, plus a payment on the past service liability. And that's roughly $53.7 million for the current fiscal year. The portion of that that's being paid out in benefits currently is called the pay-as-you-go cost. That's about $16 million. There's another subsidy inherent in the premium rates called the implicit rate subsidy. That's another $3 million. So roughly the district is financing about $19 million of the $53 million just by current year expenditures for benefit payments. But the gap between that $53 million and $19 million is yet to be financed, and that would be taken care of through trust contributions. This next slide shows that as of 2 years ago, there's really not too much movement in the accrued liability. It's actually about $30 million less than we projected, maybe $40 million less than we projected 2 years ago. So the accrued liability for the first time is actually stabilizing, a great move. Meanwhile, the asset value in the trust has been going up as a result of some meaningful contributions going to it. And we can see that 2 years ago, the funded ratio, that is the percent of assets compared to the liability, was less than 1%. And just 2 years later, it's about 2.5%. So that's some significant progress in that 2-year period. Still a lot to go. This next chart just shows graphically that over the past 6 years, you can see the accrued liability was continuing to increase with no assets being set aside. 2 years ago, for the first time, the liability was reduced and a small amount of money was set aside. You can see that little green bar hovering around 0. 2 years later, in 2015, the liability is again a little bit less and the asset value is growing. So things are headed the right direction. But when those two lines are the same, then you can rest easy. This next chart shows really just the source of money going toward benefit financing. And the blue bar is the direct premium payments that the district is making for retirees. The red bar is trust contributions, and the green bar relates to that premium subsidy I mentioned. So you can see in the last 2 years, the amount of trust contributions has gone up substantially, and that's made a meaningful difference.
Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate it. Again, I'm Matt Goss from CalPERS, so I'm here representing the trust fund through which you're making contributions in an effort to take those principal contributions and create investment income to help you with your future year operating budgets to pay for these benefits. What I wanted to show you here is that most employers that participate in our trust fund, just under 500 of them, are not well funded. So you're not alone. You've done some good things so far, and you'd like to continue to do those as you move into the future. Approximately 151 of our 499 employers as of today are between 0 and 25% funded. So again, you're not alone. I'd like to move to the next slide and point out that specifically the school employers, approximately 55 of whom participate in the trust fund today, are right in that same range that you're in, about 3% funded when you take their entire actual accrued liabilities, you add them all up, and their assets as well in the trust fund, and then you just divide those assets by the liability. So you're doing okay, but you'd like to do a lot better as you move forward. What this slide does, and I won't go into all the details with respect to time, but it breaks down by your different bargaining units on which you're, or on behalf of whom you're pre-funding, how they're doing so far. So you can see the SCTA, CSA, SEIU, the Teamsters, UPA, unrepresented employees, and then a total aggregate number. So you've got some contributions that you've made that are significant, as Catherine mentioned. You have not dispersed money from the trust fund, which you could do if you wished to liquidate some of the assets. And those contributions have earned some money. If your money was in county treasury, lay for a money market account, as opposed to this irrevocable higher yielding investment vehicle, you would have not generated the rate of return which you had done through August 31, 2016 of 6.60%. You'd have probably generated during that same window of time something more like 0.5 to 1%. So it was definitely a good decision to do this. Again, additional contributions in the future and more investment income is going to help get you to where you eventually want to be. So what I do here is I just break down by individual bargaining unit. And I'm going to go ahead and skip these slides because they're really here for Q&A should there be specific Q&A related to one of the bargaining units. What I'd like to do here is just put in perspective the extent to which those returns are good. And so what we do here is take the entire trust fund's assets by strategy. We have 3 investment strategies, and we compare the results of those strategies over 7 different time periods to their performance benchmarks. And basically what you're going to see if you stare at this slide long enough, I have the luxury of having done that for the last 6 years, is that the returns are equal to and better than the benchmarks in all 19 data points presented. So that's something to make you comfortable. I mean, it has been a pretty volatile marketplace for the last decade or so. The inception to date number for strategy 1 shows a return of 4.12%. So what you can see is that the timing of your contributions has been better than the timing of the total trust for strategy 1, which goes back to 2007. So you're doing pretty good at 6.60%. And again, just to cement the point that I made on the previous slide, much better than what you would have done had you continued down the path of paying as you go, as opposed to setting up an account with us and establishing a pre-funding policy, which you've done. Okay? I want to talk about costs because every penny that you pay reduces the amount of money that you have in your account to pay for these benefits in the future. And if you were to pay investors more money to do this same work that we're doing for you today, it would be less pennies to pay for those retirees to whom you've promised these benefits. Currently, we are charging a total participation cost fee rate of 10 basis points of assets under management. What that basically means is we charge you 10/100ths of a single percent. To put that in perspective, I pay about 30 basis points for my supplemental 401k and about 20 for my kids' scholar share accounts. So you're getting a fantastic deal here, a deal that you probably couldn't get if you went on your own as an individual investor. So that's the good news. The second piece of good news that this slide doesn't indicate is that that fee rate has always been low for each of our 9 full fiscal years of operation, and it never was higher than 15 basis points. But what we've demonstrated in the last 24 months of trust fund operation is the ability to make a U-turn, a 180, so to speak, and bring that fee rate down by 33% over the last 24 months. So we got actually less expensive with more cash flows positive coming into the trust from the increase in participating employers. So you're being subsidized in some respects, and you're subsidizing others in other respects, but it's really working out for you, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship for all the participating agencies.
You hear a lot of information from Ms. Cloud and Mr. Goss. They are experts on their fields, but what all this means. So assume that you have an interest-only loan and you pay the interest on for 5 years. Every year, your amount that you owe is increasing, and you owe more at the end of 5 years. We all remember what happened with the housing market. This is very similar. This is a liability, something that we owe, and we don't take care. This gets worse with time. So we want to keep the promise that we make to our employees a long time ago. We need a collaboration with everybody. This is for the benefit of our students, our employees, and it's the right thing to do. So as you can see in the previous, from the previous slides, funds they are put in the trust are counted as an asset to reduce the liability. What this means is for every 1% that we increase in the interest return, we reduce the liability a range between 10 and 20% of liability. If we cannot invest, our liability will have been up over $650 million, the amount that we did before. So we need to continue working on this. I know it's very difficult. We have a lot of needs, but this is a debt that will come to us sooner or later. We might not be here when this comes, but we owe it to our kids, to our community. Thank you for your time, and we are available to answer any questions. Mm-hmm.
Yes, do we have any public comment? No public comment. Member Cochran.
Thank you. Slide 10, curiosity question. What are the expenses? To whom are they paid? And what are they composed of?
Thank you. So on slide number 10, we're talking about 10 basis points, correct? of assets under management.
Mhm.
Yeah, so 8.5 of those basis points go to CalPERS, and essentially what you're doing there is paying direct and indirect costs. An example of a direct cost would be my salary. I'm not a commissioned employee, I'm just a salaried state employee, a staff services manager 1. An example of the second category would be indirect costs. Those are 66% of the program costs that are allocated back to other CalPERS program areas like fiscal, audits, legal, the investments office. Of those 10 total basis points, 1.5 of them are paid to an external investment manager, State Street Global Advisors. So the 8.5 and the 1.5 in total equal 10 basis points. So that's the breakdown. Really, in these trust funds, you pay 3 different mouths. You pay the administrator, which I represent. You pay the custodian, which is, in our case, State Street Bank. And then you pay the investment advisors, which in this case would be both CalPERS' investments office team along with State Street Global Advisors. So those kind of 3 cost centers are who you're paying. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Rodriguez.
Thank you, Vice President Hansen. So on the same slide, number 10. And so I'm looking at the IRR, the interest rate of return.
Sure.
And for SCTA, it's only 6.3, and the rest are 2 points higher. So why is that?
Do you have the... yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay. So essentially, the teachers who the district was contributing on behalf of through a cost-sharing agreement started first. Their cash was flowing into the trust fund before any of the other bargaining units' money was flowing into the trust fund. So their window of time in the marketplace for assets exposure to the investment vehicle was longer, and that earlier period of time when they were contributing into the investment vehicle, the markets were down. So they started off in the red and then pulled into the black and are moving northbound at this point in time. So that explains why their internal rate of return is less than, for example, the CSA or the SEIU, because those monies avoided down markets more so than the SCTA's monies avoided down markets. Keep in mind that we're projecting for this investment vehicle a 20-year annualized rate of return of 7.28%, but not promising that we'll deliver that in any single year. In fact, you'll probably never see that. We've never landed exactly on 7.28%. But over the long term, we've done real well. For example, as of September 30th, 2016, the 5-year number in Strategy 1 was 9.42%. So it's just going to take some time for you to see the numbers normalize. And that explains why SCTA is lower than the others. The cash has been exposed to market conditions for a longer period. Some of that time was more negative.
Could the investment strategy be a little bit more aggressive to make up for that down?
Well, one of the reasons why the results are so for SCTA is because you're in the most aggressive of our 3 strategies. It's by no means an aggressive strategy. It's more of a moderate aggressive asset allocation. It targets, again, 7.28%, which is lower by 22 basis points than the CalPERS pension fund. It's got approximately 57% global equities, a mix of about 50-50. So I think that's probably about as aggressive as most customers want to be. Could you ramp it up? Yes, not from our menu of options. We have 2 other options that are more conservative by nature. At this point in time, the district can make a decision as to what they want to do and always move strategies, but it seems pretty appropriate to be with Strategy 1, considering the discount rate that Catherine uses is higher, meaning that the liabilities will be lower. And right now, it makes a lot of sense for you to be in a growth mode. But I'm not an expert. That's not my decision. That's your decision. But it seems pretty appropriate and consistent with most of our employers. About 360 of our participating employers also participate in Strategy 1 for the same reasons. They have very low levels of assets in the trust fund compared to their liabilities, and they're in a growth mode, much like a 25-year-old investor. So they want to grow over time, and they're not worried about investment return volatility quite yet. They're not preserving assets, they're growing assets. And that's kind of where you find yourself. So it makes a lot of sense where you are now.
And then going back to slide 7. Sorry, I'm going to strain your voice a little.
It's not a problem.
So why do we see this dip again from 630 of 16 to 630 of 17? We see the funded status dipping down to 41.6.
It's actually not a decrease of the funding status. We knew at the time we prepared the report, we knew the total actual contributions for fiscal year end 16. For fiscal year end 17, we didn't know yet what's going to be contributed. The firm commitment was for only $2 million to the trust, as opposed to $9 million for fiscal year end 16. If actual contributions are higher, then you'll see that go up.
Okay. Thank you. So, Mr. Castillo, there have been times on this board where I've been very vocal about making sure that we set aside funds and we're paying into these accounts. Is what we're seeing, and I think it's the slide before that, in slide number 6, those little green bars, is that what we're seeing reflected there in those little green bars?
The green bars is the investments that we have done is compared to the liability or over 600 million. They are very small, but like I said, I think we have made, I think, the most difficult part, that is to start investing money. Now we need to go to have an ongoing plan where we have a plan where we do that in a consistent basis to increase the green bar. You know, it's not a lot, but we didn't have. You just look at 2 years now, we didn't have anything. So I'm saying that I think we have made significant. The hardest part, I think, is anything is to start, and we are there, and hopefully we could keep going down.
The recommended rate that we invest at is
it's
page 4.
On page 4, yeah.
Right.
So it is the investment rate is the strategy 1 that was discussed. So we actually have a committee for the OPE trust that is composed of district employees and retirees that we met twice a year, where we analyze the strategy, where we go in very detail what it is. So we belong to a big pool, so we feel confident in the strategy because, like Matt said, we don't have a lot, so we need to grow it. So I feel confident where we are at this point in time.
Have we considered other investment companies?
So when this trust was created, CalPERS, we did when I was not in this position, but when this trust was created, there were other companies into consideration, and at that point in time, we decided to go with CalPERS because of the community that they serve in the school districts and our knowledge with them. Yes, so we did that. We haven't done in the last few years though. Mm-hmm.
So if I understand correctly, we have about $19 million just for SCTA, but overall we have about $26 million.
Yeah, you see this is as of August 31, 2016. That is correct. So the actual report is very important point why those two numbers don't match was as of July 1, 2015, and this is as of August 31, 2016. So that's correct. Correct.
I think I have some additional feedback for you, but that will be not here. And I think there's some investment companies that maybe this board should consider looking into for that amount of fund that we're dealing with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board Member Ryan.
Thank you for your presentation. I had 2 clarifying questions. One was around slide 10 and the contributions. The totals listed for contributions, are those a combination of direct contributions by the district and contributions by the bargaining units themselves?
Yes, that is correct. So we SCTA, we started that early. They contribute $20 per month. So yes, that's a combination of both their portion and our portion. We start with other bargaining units later because when we pull from CalPERS benefits, that was the 1/3 portion that they contribute to that. When we pull that, that's why so that's their portion, their contribution. So yes.
And all of the current bargaining units listed are contributing currently to the unfunded liability?
On an ongoing basis, no. No.
So who is and at what amount and who is not?
So we have SCTA is contributing $20 a month. That's what it's contributing. And the other bargaining units, we don't have any amount they're contributing on an ongoing basis.
And how has that trended over the last few years? I mean, I think we saw a good slide illustrating that we are contributing more, both as a district, individually, and with our partners than we have in the past. But what has the trend been year to year in terms of percentage increase? Do you know off the top of your head?
It has not been increased since it was set up. It has been $20.
So it's held steady. Okay. So my last question is, and you may or may not have thoughts about this right now, but in closing thoughts on slide 20, the statement is referenced that Sacramento City Unified School District has the highest OPEB liability per ADA in California. So I have two questions. I have one, if you can give a very quick synopsis of why, and then two, other like districts, or to the extent that we can take into account like districts, what have districts who've experienced similar unfunded liabilities into the hundreds of millions of dollars employed as strategies to reduce those liabilities and ensure fiscal stability?
Ms. Claudius does for a living. She reviews a lot of school districts. However, I will try to answer the question because of your voice. So we know that a while back, about 2 years ago, we were doing some research about how our liability compares per ADA. You know, you look at everybody talks about Los Angeles Unified School District. They have a lot bigger liability than us. But when you divide the liability versus an ADA, per ADA, we have a higher amount. And I think you asked the question, why? I mean, it is one thing is because we don't have a plan in health benefits have increased tremendously over the years. When these plans were designed, I don't know, even anybody thought that health benefits will be like double digits increase for a period year after year. So the liability has increased. So when you have the cost going up and you don't put any investments, you are going like this. So that has been increased. That's probably why. But is any other thing to add?
The other thing I would add is many school districts end their subsidized coverage at age 65. And the Sacramento district continues with lifetime benefits. And lifetime is a long time. So that's the most significant difference between the programs by and large.
Thank you. I missed that, yes.
So my last question, and thank you for both of your responses, was around, based upon your experience, the strategies that you've seen other districts employ to reduce their unfunded liability, particularly those that are experiencing it at the level that Sacramento City Unified is.
Well, I see it as a combination of things that have been talked about tonight. First, setting up a logical and consistent strategy to be setting aside money in a trust toward pre-funding. The higher investment returns provide for reduced contributions in the long run for the district and increased stability toward that commitment. The second is to people have looked at reducing the percentage of the premium paid or shortening the period of time that the benefit is provided. So I guess there's four components: increasing the pre-funding, increasing the eligibility requirements to qualify for benefits, potentially cutting back the percentage or the dollar amount of the benefit, and shortening the time frame over which benefits are paid. Those four things collectively are where most agencies devote some effort to reducing the liability.
All right, I have a couple of questions. Let's start on page 20. Just want to make sure I understand the number there. So the $37.6 million, Am I understanding that that would be the required annual contribution that the district would need to make each year for the next 30 years to fully fund our healthcare obligation?
The annual required contribution for the fiscal year ending 16 was about $54 million. Of that $54 million, some of that is already being covered by payments you're making directly to retirees. So the gap is what is the shortfall, and anything that you can do to fill that gap, partially or fully, is desirable.
So let me get some clarity then. So that's on page 4.
Yes.
Is that correct? So the annual required contribution, that's the approximate 54 million.
Right.
So if we contributed 54 million per year, we'd have to do that for 30 years to reach our
Yes, I think your remaining amortization period is actually a little bit shorter than that.
25, approximately.
The other odd twist about it is, remember, we developed these numbers based on the relative level of trust contributions you're making now, and that's producing a discount rate that reflects the 7.28 for the trust, but only 4% for your local funds. If you actually contributed the full ARC, the ARC amount itself would be less, perhaps 40 million. So the actual contribution level goes down as the percent you contribute to the trust increases.
And so how much are we contributing approximately this year? What's in our budget this year? You remind me.
Yeah, in this budget, we have in a budget, we had $3 million. That's what we set up in the.
And that includes contributions from SCTA and.
No, that was just part of the district.
Right.
So
but I just heard that we would need to put 40 million in per year for the next 20 something years if we wanted to fully fund this obligation in 20 years. But we're only putting 3 million in.
Yeah, that's why we put in this in the budget for this year. I mean, as we did last year, we get some one-time savings. This is a priority, and we're looking at that one-time savings, one-time funds as we did in the last couple of years. But that's what is on the budget. So you just described the problem, the issue that we have.
So just like I can't remember what it's called, but the rule of holes is you stop digging the hole. So every year we don't put $20 million in, we are foisting that charge on future students, future families, future school boards, future teachers, future staff, future. Just like someone in our past has foisted this cost on us at this point in time. So the poor decision-making of previous boards, previous union leadership who didn't do a good deal for their members has left us holding the bag every year. How much do we spend each year for retiree health care, approximately?
It's about $18 million.
18 million.
As pay as you go for that, yeah.
So if we had funded appropriately in the past, we would have an extra $18 million per year in our budget that we could spend on students, on books, on benefits, on bettering our facilities, on more custodians, more nurses, more counselors, all those things.
Yes.
I was looking for a yes, so thank you.
Yeah.
So it's clear to me that we absolutely have to make this part of, our budget going forward. We've all talked about it. I think it's important for us to know this. It's important for the public to know this. It's important for our staff and their executives to know this. So we really are being honest with ourselves when we do budgeting. So we're not just shifting, we're not kicking the can down the road, because that's the easiest thing for any of us to do, is to just pretend it's not there and kick it down the road. And as we all well know, the court allows breaking healthcare obligations, and that would be the worst case scenario. So I'm committed to making sure that the promises that we've made to our custodial staff that are going to be retirees, our teacher staff that are going to be retirees, that are planning on having healthcare when they retire, that it's really there. Because if we don't do the right thing now, that will be broken by some future board because they won't have a choice because we won't have funded it. So I am a big fan of CalPERS, so I appreciate the good work that you do there. You're a public, quasi-public agency. You're a nonprofit, and you're well respected, and you're used by employee groups up and down the state. So I think that's a great benefit. And you're right here in our backyard, so we can keep a close eye on you. We can get good updates like this too that help us make good decisions. I hope that we'll have the political courage, everybody in this room, to do the right things for the people that we represent, and we don't kick the can down the road so it becomes an just a greater unfunded liability, and the public has to pick up the tab, or there's going to be broken healthcare contracts to retirees who are planning on having this. And I just saw a terrifying article from the LA Times today. I know that we sent out that the appeals court allowed breaking pension obligations because some of those have grown so high. And that's now going to the California Supreme Court. That's never happened before. So us funding up front and being honest about what we're doing and keeping those promises that we're making is the right thing to do. And we are a destination district, and we will continue to be a destination district and can become an even better one if we treat everybody honestly and fairly. And that starts with our citizens, our taxpayers, our families, our children, our staff. They all go hand in hand. So thank you very much for this information.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on item 10.2, Summer Matters.
Good evening, respected board members, Deputy Superintendent. I am Marcus Struther. I am one of the coordinators for youth development. I, along with my colleague Manpreet Kaur, our director Stacy Bell, our other YDSS staff and collaborative partners that are here with us, and most importantly, our students who will be speaking to you tonight, are excited to be able to share with you some of the great data, some of the awesome opportunities that our kids were able to get during our Summer Matters program this past summer. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get things started with our slideshow. Is it here ready to go? All right. Not responding. Got it. There's an on-off switch. Sorry. As we begin, we'll start with our slideshow. I apologize.
Somewhere around there. We're not going anywhere.
It's this slide here. Not sure why it's not wanting to begin.
Backroom staff might have some assistance.
One of the things I can do as we're waiting for that, I can speak about our attendance. With Summer Quest, which is our elementary programs, we had 1,726 students. With our middle school SOS program, we had 771 students. We had 500 in our SOS high school programs. Our summer ambassadors, who will be here to speak with you all tonight, we had 50. And our Summer at City Hall program, we had 47 students. So we had just over 3,000 students who were able to participate this summer in our summer programs. Are we ready for the video? And with that, I'm going to call up Laurier Golar, who was one of our leaders for Summer Ambassadors, and he's going to bring up a couple of our students to speak with you all about the program.
Thank you, Marcus. Good evening, board. As you said, my name is Laurier Golar III. I was actually one of the coordinators who actually interviewed 103 students, all high school students from the ages of 16 to about 18 years old. The students had to meet the qualifications 2.0. Grade attendance had to be recommended by an administrator, teacher, so forth. The students went through a very rigorous panel interviewed by pretty much our staff. From that experience, they were going to be given the opportunity to work in the Summer of Service programs. They were going to be able to receive 5 elective credits. They were given a stipend of $250. The work experience, the volunteer experience also go with this program. The students had also had the opportunity to engage with their peers and stand out and be leaders amongst their peers. They were given a project. This year's theme was pretty much, we are a little bit more intentional by incorporating technology and using Instagram. The students were trained by myself and my colleague who's not here, Christina Prairie Chicken. In these trainings, we're also intentional about giving them the experience they need and what it's like to actually be a teacher, facilitator, or a student advocate. Some of the challenges I knew they would face would be a leader amongst their peers and getting them to participate in these activities. And our trainings also helped them cope with that. Some of them took the challenge, some of them took the leadership and then used authority. And I said, this is not how we work. So you can't tell them what to do, you can't suspend them. So we also learned something about that as well. But enough about me and the program. I'm going to let the students speak. I'm going to introduce Joshua Abbots, who was also part of the ambassador program.
Hello, my name is Joshua Abbots, and I am a 10th grader at C.K. McClatchy High School. And this past 2016 summer, I enrolled in the SOS Summer Ambassador Program. The year before, I was a SOS student. So going into it, I knew that I had a little bit of experience, but I knew it was going to be difficult to get the job. And when I got it, I was very happy, and I knew that I needed a lot of work to help lead the students at McClatchy. And Laurier and Christina gave us a lot of cool skills. For instance, they helped us make emails. They helped us learn how to talk with the students if they have problems, help talk to the teachers, get information about them to help the students around them, and how to be an outstanding leader. And that definitely helped me go through the summer a lot easier. It made everything a lot smoother than it would have been. So without them, I think it would have been a lot harder on me than if they weren't there. And going into the year, I was very excited to be an ambassador at McClatchy. Since I go there, I knew the school well, I knew the teachers well, so I got to make a lot of new friends that I'm currently still friends with at the school. And going through, throughout the future, I think the skills that they taught me are going to help me in the future, definitely getting a new job later on. And the skills that they taught me are definitely going to help me in college and going to help me when I'm a big adult. And going in the future, I hope that these skills will help me achieve a better job and achieve my dreams. So thank you, and I would like to introduce my colleague, Alika Hawkins.
Hello, my name is Alika Hawkins, and I have been a part of the Ambassador Program for the last 2 summers. I love the program. Sadly, this was my last year because I am a senior and I will be graduating this year. But I have been a student of the SOS program since going into my freshman year of high school. So when I decided I wanted to be an ambassador, I kind of knew a little bit about what I'd be doing going in. What I did not know is that instead of working with high school students, I would be working with children. So yes, I had the amazing pleasure to work with the kids of Golden Empire Elementary School. And honestly, it was the best experience I believe I've ever had. Not only did this program give me the necessary tools to learn and gain a newfound respect for my teachers, because this was hard. And so I just want to thank everyone who's been a part of it, who kept it going. And I'm really sad that I can't go back and do it again. But moving forward, I know that this job has given me the experience I need for the real world. And finding another job and me going through interviews, it's not as hard as it used to be because I kind of have experience going in. But, yeah. So all in all, I loved it. So now I would like to introduce Dominguez Tyler Tate.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dominguez Tyler Tate. I'm 16 years old. I go to Arthur A. Benjamin Health Professions High. I'm a junior. I'm a part of the Men's Leadership Academy class on campus. With the lessons and tools I've learned in the Men's Leadership Academy, I was able to apply them in my interview for the internship with the SOS Ambassador Program. My internship lasted for 5 weeks with the restaurant Greenfish Co. Concluding my ambassador internship, I was offered a job part-time with Greenfish. I was very grateful for the experience because it helped me to improve my interview and making resumes. I wasn't the best at making resumes, so Mr. G helped me revise it and gave me a review on my interview and how I can improve on it the next time. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and it would be a blessing if I was able to participate in the program again. My plans after high school are to go into college, and hopefully one day I will be able to own my own business. I would like to introduce our Youth and Development Program Coordinator, Manpreet Kaur.
Respected board members, dear Deputy Superintendent, it's a great honor and pleasure to be here today and present the data that we collected from our summer programming. First, I'm going to talk about Summer Quest Math. Summer Quest was a 5-week program, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 2 p.m. Our theme for this Summer Quest 2016 was Olympics, as you know, aligned with summer that happened in Brazil. So our students, each site, they had an opening ceremony and they also had a closing ceremony, just like Olympics. So the data that we collected in math from summer programming was with the help of our math coaches, our academic department. So I want to say thank you to them. Pilot launch of math assessment. This was our first year when we did math assessments formal. Partnership with YDSS and math curricula coaches, pre-post assessments with 5 questions exam. Population assessed incoming first to incoming 6th graders. And I want to mention one thing, that all these first through incoming 6th grader students took the assessments based on their incoming grade level. Assessing numeracy in place value. Place value was the concept that was assessed all through the 6th grades. Online math lab was held at John Sloat, and a number of teachers were present at John Sloat 4 days a week, and they taught in classes, and then it was like a training program for teachers. Summer Quest Math, the data that was analyzed with research and evaluation, our district's program evaluator, and I want to say thank you to her. Through the overall goal was to prevent summer learning loss, but we saw 11 to 26% gains in math assessment scores overall grade levels. Some grade levels they achieved 11%, and the highest was 26% at that gain. Overall average gain of 14% for the sample of students assessed, and the sample was 816 students. Summer Quest ELA data over here. Before I start, I want to say thank you to our ELA English language department and coaches. Pilot launch of English language arts assessment. This was the first time when we collaborated with our ELA department. Assessments included writing journals and reading logs. Those were the two things that were implemented. Assessments gauged reading stamina and quality of writing responses according to Common Core state standards. So once we collected student journals, we collected 35 randomly student journals from grades 1 to 3. Student writing journals were analyzed, and then grades 4 through 6, 46 student journals were analyzed by our academic department. Of the grades 1 to 3 sample taken, 240 books were read, and 3,845 pages were read. Of the grades 4 through 6 sample taken, a total of 212 books and 6,948 pages were read. And a group of 7 academic coaches from ELA team analyzed writing samples collected from 300 plus students that were randomly collected from school sites. And when we looked at the ELA data, we saw a lot of reading that happened and a lot of writing about that reading. In students' writing, we saw summary, we saw personal connections were made, and we saw some opinions supported by textual evidence. Our next year's plan is that we are going to use some of those examples of reading responses, and some were non-examples of reading responses to help our Summer Quest staff promote opinion writing supported by textual facts. SOS experiential student data, our summer of service, middle and high school, it's based on students' experiences, building relationships and making connections. A 17-question survey and is distributed among students. Out of that, 285 were collected and completed and returned. 95% of student sample agreed that teachers and staff tried their best to make summer a fun experience. 91% of student sample were able to build relationships with their students they never met before. 90% of student sample reported being able to work with students. 85% of student sample stated they learned a lot about different social problems affecting my community, because that's our goal is civic education during summer of service. 82% of students sample reported that they learned new skills that they could apply next year. And we administered a parent survey. That's one new thing that we did this summer was we asked our parents to complete the survey while talking to their children. So students took the survey home and completed it together. 95% of respondents agreed that my child had fun during the Summer Quest program. 95% of respondents stated that my child had the option to participate in safe activities, sports, and games. 92% of respondents recorded that my child participated in at least 30 minutes of rigorous exercise every day. 86% of respondents stated that my child made new friends. 92% said that my child was able to work with students from different backgrounds on classroom assignments. 90% of respondents believe my child was able to create positive memories from Summer Quest programming. 92% stated that as a parent, I felt that my child was safe at all times. And 91% of respondents stated, as a parent, I would re-enroll my child in a Summer Quest program next year. And I want to mention that we collected 333 parent surveys.
Thank you, and I appreciate the extra time as we're going through. A couple of things, very quickly. A couple of things, I will do that. A couple of things with our literacy and Summer Quest. We had some great collaborative programs. Janae Brown-Wood, who is here with us today, if we could give her a quick 30 seconds to talk about One Book, One Sacramento, that would be great. She is an author, so 30 seconds is going to be quick.
Right.
Thank you.
Hi. So my name's Janae Brown-Wood, and I wrote this book, Imani's Moon. And actually, in the world of children's books right now, there's this push for diversity. So children can see themselves reflected in the pages. So they can see windows into other people's lives and get this understanding, even though they might not share that experience. And so that you can break down walls, which are stereotypes and biases. And so when Sac City invited me out to come read my book with a little child of color in a very diverse district, I was thrilled, and you got to see sort of snippets of it. It was a wonderful experience. Children, they brought this energy, this love for literacy, and the main message of my story is persevere. No matter what anyone says, if they say you can't do it, persevere and believe in yourself. And so this is sort of the resounding message that we shared with the children throughout the summer. And it was amazing, right? It was fantastic. I could probably come up with lots of other synonyms for how wonderful it was, but I want to thank Sac City for inviting me out, and I'm continuing to support, of course, this effort for literacy and diversity. So thank you.
Do you think we can take a look at that book? If you mind passing it, we'll let us.
Awesome. One thing I want to state about that is that we were able to put that book in 1,200 students' hands this summer, so they all walked away with a copy of the book. We also did with barbershops. We had a partnership with Sacramento Library. They provided books to 10 barbershops, and those barbers allowed for students that came in and read to them free haircuts. We also did a book with 916 Inc., where we partnered with our multilingual department, and we were able to have 17 ELL students work with 916 Inc. to create Warrior Voices, which was just released a couple weeks ago. All of you will be getting a copy of that today. A little bit like Oprah, everybody gets a book. So we are very, very excited about all of the amazing work that came with the literacy pieces. But overall findings, we had a good opportunity to create fun, safe, healthy spaces. Our parents and families feel confident in our programming. Majority of parents would like a longer program, which was one of the things that we noticed, is that as opposed to Monday through Thursday, they would like Monday through Friday. As opposed to 5 weeks, they would like to see us go back to 7 weeks. And as opposed to 8 to 2, they would like to see us go until 3 o'clock. So that is definitely something that we need to consider as we move into next year. More outreach to parents before the starter program so that they are aware of programs starting and what's happening, and just reassessing some of the needs for enrollment procedures to make sure all students are involved. Thank you.
Thank you so
Any
much.
Any questions?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Do we have a public comment this week's? No public comment. Board Member Ryan.
Well, I would like to say to Janae Brownwood that both of my little kids got a chance to hear you reading Imani's story at the Black Book Fair, and they were totally enthralled, loved it, and in fact, it's now one of their favorite evening books to read. So thank you for your beautiful story of overcoming adversity. For those of you who haven't had a chance to look at Imani's Moon, definitely pick it up. It's this plucky little individual who continues to persevere, and at the end is able to overcome and meet magic. It really is a beautiful story. I love it. So a couple other things I just want to share. You know, as a parent of two little ones, I was very lucky to have my daughter participate in Freedom Schools, as you know, and she had a pretty remarkable experience with Jackie Rose over at Phoenix Park and Magic Johnson Community Center. We know that when we have access to quality after-school programs and summer programs, you have two pretty remarkable things that you are able to accomplish. One, you help prevent summer learning loss, which we know is a very real phenomenon. But I think even bigger than that is for students who don't necessarily have parents who can afford to put them in summer programs, you are giving them a safe environment, and you're giving them a safe environment with an opportunity to have a rich summer experience that they might not otherwise get. And I'm so grateful for all the work that you're doing on that front. My hope is that with our new mayor-elect, Darrell Steinberg, and his commitment to youth and growing our after-school programs, our summer programs, et cetera, we will see a renewed investment in what I believe are not enrichment activities in the summer, but core to ensuring each one of our students at Sac City succeed. So thank you so much for your efforts and for having the data behind the programs to substantiate that you are seeing tremendous learning gains.
Thank you.
Katie, be the hero of the story. Thank you.
Ms. Rosas?
Hello. I could honestly say I wish I had grown up in this school district and I would have had all these opportunities. It's awesome to hear that some request is happening. I'm a student. I've had 18 years of experience of having summer. Yes, summer is fun, but I've come back sometimes forgetting a lot, a little bit too much. So it's awesome that not only are you focusing on making sure that they aren't forgetting the material, but also are providing a fun environment for them. Because I know I've had summers where I've been extremely bored, and not only that, but I haven't really been studying or doing things like that. So this is such a beneficial opportunity to students, and I completely agree. It's more than just enrichment. It's what should be, because it is core to students. And I know that not all students have the opportunities, so to have something like this is fantastic. And I love that you're introducing books that are diverse and show young students at a young age a variety of people and characters in books, because I know how incredibly important it is to see somebody like you, whether it's in books and movies or in anything that are like you, because I feel at a young age that helps you dream of more. And not only that, I'm also extremely sad that I haven't participated in SOS or anything, but I have heard incredibly great things about them from my best friends and peers, and they always come back to me and tell me what a great experience it was, and how they didn't only learn skills that they could apply academically, but also outside of the classroom when it comes to interviews, when it comes to partnerships, relationships with other students, and leadership. So thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Member Rodriguez.
Thank you, President Hansen. Yes, thank you all. Thank you for coming and staying. To our student presenters, thank you for coming and sharing with us your experience over the summer, and especially Janae, not this book, but Imani's Moon. Thank you for that, sharing that with us. I came to know another book author over the last summer. I went to the Festival of Books in Los Angeles and came across another wonderful author. I think I'm going to connect the two of you together, too. Yeah. I do believe in finding more books with a diversity of faces and stories in them. I think our kids need to learn about that, regardless of where they come from, what household they're at. It's just nice to have that diversity in front of them, so it doesn't look strange when they do see it in person. They know how to, behave socially and not be awkward about what the difference is that they see in front of them. So thank you. This is my second one on this board of this book from 916 Inc. The only question I have about this, and I'm not sure if either one of you can answer the question, because I like to leave these kinds of things around for my children to read.
Mm-hmm.
The last one I couldn't, because there was a word or two that was just a little too mature for them. Will I find any content like that in these?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'll keep that on the adult bookshelf. Thank you. But again, thank you for your work, and thank you for your participation in our program.
Thank you.
And I'll just close by also saying thanks for the good work, and the statistics from the summer were very powerful. I think they speak a lot to the value of the program. And I want to encourage you. I know you said you're leaving and you're sad to leave, but we need teachers. So maybe you can talk to the teachers in the back, and we'll see you back here. You would be a great teacher. So we hope you consider that as a career. Well, thanks to everyone for coming. We appreciate it, and I'll see you at McClatchy. So keep up your good work. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Item 10.3, LCAP. Welcome.
Okay.
Good evening, Vice President Hansen, board members, and Deputy Superintendent Allen. I'm Kathy Morrison, the LCAP coordinator. During tonight's brief presentation, I will provide an update on the recruitment for the district's local control and accountability, plan Parent Advisory Committee. You'll hear about the progress we've made with the applications and our plans for robust stakeholder engagement. Finally, I'll provide a preview of the state's new accountability system. For this year's recruitment, we modified the application to make it simpler. We also promoted the relevance of the work on this committee in order to attract more candidates. The great news is in the first month that the application was available, we received the largest number of applications in 3 years. For the first time, we received several applications from students. Because we want authentic student participation in the LCAP process, staff is recommending that all students who apply or who will apply participate in the committee without board appointment. Students can help us to educate and elicit feedback from their peers. The democratic selection process that this district uses for the Parent Advisory Committee has proven to be fair and effective. Each board member appoints 2 members to the committee, and the superintendent appoints 2 for a total of 16. In an effort to cast a wider net for parent and guardian participation, the board has extended the window for applications through the end of this month. We want to reach all sectors of the city so that our unduplicated students are represented. To promote the extension, we updated the district webpage, we provided school sites with suggested copy for a newsletter, webpage, or posting on sites like Nextdoor. And of course, if board members would like to record a message to their constituents, the communications department is ready to help. The state's intent for meaningful engagement around the LCAP is embedded in our process, as Education Code is specific in directing districts to consult with parents, pupils, school personnel, and the community. Our process embraces voices from all around the district, all classifications of employees. Everyone is invited to weigh in. This year, with the release of a new LCAP template that will set the framework for the next 3 years, it is critical that we reach a large number of stakeholders and approach the consultation strategically. One new strategy for outreach is the School Site Council Learning Collaborative. This new series will consist of 3 meetings over the year. Site council members and principals will be invited to participate. With these meetings, we will provide training for site council members, explain the criteria for use of and monitoring the LCFF and Title I funds at school sites, and we will solicit feedback on the LCAP as we develop it this year. Ultimately, we believe this will lead to better alignment between the LCAP and the strategic plan. Establishing this committee also aligns with our strategic plan goals of family and community empowerment and operational excellence, specifically to develop and use data to ensure that programs are implemented effectively and can be measured for impact. Finally, I want to touch on state accountability. This graphic was presented by Nancy Brownell of the California Department of Education. And I'm pointing us to November because we anticipate a release of the state evaluation rubrics. Rubrics will provide a rating for districts and schools on multiple measures aligned with the LCAP. Each rubric combines status or performance and growth over a 3-year average. The rubrics will be pre-populated by the state with data, CASP, an English language indicator, graduation rate, suspension rate. There will be a college and career indicator and also chronic absence. included eventually. For locally determined LCAP measures, the district will fill out a self-evaluation on basic services, implementation of state standards, school climate, and parent engagement. Again, we expect a preview of these rubrics for our district in November and public release in January. They're very complex, but we believe the rubrics will help our district clearly identify where our areas of need are by subgroup. And we are participating in several seminars and workshops so that we can learn about the rubrics, how to implement, and how to communicate about them effectively. So, lastly, although the Parent Advisory Committee application is extended, we're still able to maintain our previously stated schedule for meetings. We plan an orientation in early November and the first meeting to be November 15th. We are still also recruiting for the English Learner Parent Advisory Committee, which is a parallel committee to the LCAP in terms of the information received and the opportunities for engagement. So in closing, there are many changes to the process and to the product that we will be producing this year with the LCAP, and our team will continue to provide updates to the board throughout the year.
Wonderful, thank you. Do we have any public comment? No public comment? Great, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We're excited for our next selection. We're going to go a bit out of order because, board members are moving slow. Board member Ryan, did you have something?
I will be very quick. A few things. Kathy, thank you so much for your hard work. I really appreciate it. I am thrilled that we're going to be appointing all of the student applicants. It's phenomenal that we have students who want to be a part of this process, and I hope that they will be given opportunities to meaningfully contribute. And I'm furthermore very happy that it won't take away from the individual board member appointees. So thank you for taking all of our feedback. I'm in the process of conducting interviews with the applicants from my area to really give them a sense of the time that is really required to be active and fully engaged in the LCAP PAC, and want us to be as supportive as we can in helping to ensure their success. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Kathy. I would like to first say thank you so much, and I speak for all of SAC when I say thank you for always having student voice as a top priority, and not only that, but also always offering your support. We definitely want to increase the amount of student participation. Although we have a good number, we want to make sure it gets higher. And to do that, during our YCM, actually on Wednesday, we made sure to present to the representatives the link and the information so they could go back to their campuses and share it with them. We will also be making sure, and we are making sure that our executive members are also going back to their own campuses and representing not only to their student government, but also to the variety of different clubs that they have, such as Brown Issues, Feminist Coalition, Black Student Union, Key Club, and the variety of other clubs to make sure that we have an accurate representation of the student population here in Sacramento. So again, I just wanted to say thank you, and I can't wait to see more applications coming in.
Great. I appreciate your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Rosas, and I was glad to see so many great appointees, prospective appointees from McClatchy, so great job. All right, very well, thank you. We are on to, we're going to take one item out of order. We're going to go to item 10.5 first to allow our guests to present on time. So Chairman Cruz and Kathy, come on up, and the rest of the board, of the Bond Oversight Committee, if you'd like, or you can be introduced by Joe and Kathy.
Are you? Okay. Yeah, definitely. Good evening.
Evening.
Chairman Hanson, members of the committee, or the board. Joe Cruz on behalf of the Bond Oversight Committee. And first I want to thank each and every one of you on that dais for your hard work and dedication to the students, parents, and the individuals who work within the district. You guys do a great job and should be recognized. I also want to thank the staff of the BOC, and I'll get down, do that to the PowerPoint, but I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my own trustee from Area 1, Jay Hansen. Didn't know Jay was running until he knocked on my door one day during his campaign, and was glad to see that he did this and became a public servant, and he's doing a great job. So on behalf of the Bond Oversight Committee, it's my privilege to report this report on the full committee, and I want to thank my colleagues who are in attendance today, who had put in all the hard work and put this report together, and I'll get down to their names, but the folks who are in attendance. And I think I pulled the short straw. Either I was the new guy or Mr. Alex Visaya nominated me early on. And Alex does a good job, but I think he nominated me to be the chairperson in my first year, and I'm glad I did it. But I do want to recognize the vice chair, Rachel Minnick, and her hard work. And I believe she's going to be stepping down soon, but this is her last meeting. But I want to recognize her hard work because she's been a stalwart on that committee and has done really good work for the kids in our district. Maria Harrell Sullivan, who's the secretary, we want to recognize her hard work. And Alex, his name, without saying, his dedication to the kids of this district is huge. And I also wanted to welcome a newer member, Michael Watanabe, who also helped put this report together. So we'll get right into it. And I'm a firm believer, and I work on a lot of bond measures statewide, that transparency, oversight, and upholding the will of voters is important when you have bond measures. And it's just as important when you position new public finance measures for the future, that you have those sort of ducks in a row as you move forward. And I'm happy to be part of this group. The purpose of the committee is to review and report bond expenditures of taxpayers' money for school renovations. It's to ensure funds are used for authorized purposes, receive and review copies of annual performance and financial audits of bond projects as required by Prop 39, and provide information to the public on the progress of bond projects and expenditure funds. So that said, we'll move right into the Bond Oversight Annual Report of 2015. And we can go to the next page, I guess it's right here. So as alluded to, pursuant to Prop 39, which was passed in 2000, it requires overview in an annual independent performance audit to ensure bond funds have been expended only on specific projects listed in expenditure plans. And it also requires, per Section 1B, 3D, an annual independent financial audit of the proceeds from the sale of bonds until all those proceeds have been expended for the school facilities projects. Membership as of last year and this year is myself, Michelle Minnick, Maria Harrell Sullivan, Carol Davidova, Adolfo Mercado, Adolfo Mercado, Alex Visaya, James Price, John Andrew, Dave O'Toole, Colleen McGowan Romanowitz, and Brad McDowell. And again, they serve this district with distinction, and they should be recognized. Moving forward, we've had a couple changes moving into the new year, and we've added Leslie Taylor and Michael Watanabe, and coming off would be Dave O'Toole and John Andrew. So they would be replaced by the new members moving into the new year. And again, staff support's vital, and it's led by Kathy Allen, Chief Operations Officer, Jim Dobson, Facilities Manager, Elena Hankard, who does a great job as the Administrative Assistant, Amari Watkins, and Crystal Hoff. Current status, bond sales and project expenditures are in progress, and I'm sure staff can provide more details if those are needed. We've had 4 meetings since the last annual report. We've reviewed reports prepared by the accounting department for the months of September 2015 and in January 2016, March 16th, and June 15th of this year. We've been completed site tours at California Middle School and was thoroughly impressed with their new gym. It's a fantastic facility, and they should be proud of that. We've also completed site tours of Abraham Lincoln Elementary, and we plan on touring Washington Elementary and William Land Elementary in the future. And I think talking to most of the BOC board members, those site tours are important to see exactly how this money is being spent and to see exactly what the benefits are to the district. So we're going to continue to do those site tours as we move forward. We have actually a few pictures of some of the site tours. So they also, some of the asphalt and pavement work that was done recently is impressive. Measure Q audit findings and conclusion. As a group, we reviewed the financial audit and performance by the auditing firm of Crowe Horwath, and the findings are no audit findings and no question costs were reported. And if we have any questions, Kathy can elaborate with that. The district expended Measure Q general obligation bonds for the year ended June 30th, 2015, in accordance with the requirements of Proposition 39 as specified by Section 1B3C of Article 8A of the California Constitution. Measure Q financial audits reports as of June 30th, 2015, and Measure Q performance audit reports as of June 30th, 2015 are available to the public at the URL listed on the board, and they are available for anybody to see. They have questions. Measure R, audit findings and conclusions reviewed financial audit performed by Crowe Horwath LLP. No audit findings and question costs were reported. The district expended Measure R general obligation funds for the year ended June 30th, 2015 in accordance with the requirements of Proposition 39. And Measure R financial statements as of June 30th, 2015, as well as audit reports as of, that's a mistake. Maybe it's just doubled up.
One's a financial, one's performance.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I got it. Performance audit report as of June 30th, 2015 is also available on the website listed. So recommendations of the board moving forward. BOC attendance at core academic renovations and repair scoping meetings is advised, and I think we will probably spend a lot more time in the district at those meetings gathering information and talking to folks to get a better idea of what their priorities are moving forward. More frequent updates to the board, obviously at your discretion if you want that. I think we could be readily available to provide more information as we move forward and more projects get built out. And we will continue to site visit projects that are under construction to see exactly, like I said, what we're getting for our hard-earned tax dollars. So in summary, for information, meeting minutes, and other documents related to the BOC, please go to www.scusd.edu, Bond Oversight Committee, and all the information should be right there for everybody to see. So if we have any questions,
members have a question? Comments? Well, I'll say, please. I'm sorry, no public comment. Okay. Member Rodriguez.
Thank you. Now, the BOC is a retrospective look, right? So you look at everything after the money's been expended. So I don't understand about being involved in the scoping meetings.
Yeah.
So the last time the BOC presented to the board, one of the comments that some of the members made were, is there any way to get the BOC involved in more current topics? And so one of the things we came up with was to invite members of the BOC to our scoping meetings for the core academic renovation and repair projects. So we did that. We've had, I know Alex has been by a couple times, and I want to say Rachel. So we just put a couple of parameters on it to where they could come to a site meeting that wasn't at a site where their children went to school, because we didn't want the folks that were that make it up the scoping committee to receive any undue influence, basically. So not that they would do that. That was just one way to do this. It is kind of difficult because we are always a year in arrears when we're reporting on the BOC, but at the same time we're trying to be current as well, which is why you saw a couple of different years worth of memberships. And then again, another way just to get them involved in what's going on, so that they do get a little bit of a head look of what might be coming up. And then when we do review the reports, they'll have said, I went to that meeting, I understand it,
So is it only informational, or are the BOC members allowed to provide comment?
Yeah, we haven't told anybody to be quiet. So typically what happens is we'll get somebody to show up like the first time, and then maybe the second time, and then they drop off. But we'll continue to reach out more and try and get more participation in that. It's great to have, a lot of opinions from people. So
No, I like that they're involved and engaged so that they're familiar with the project up front. But it's a concern, and I know it probably can't change right now, but it's a concern that they can't provide the input necessary at the front end on how these funds are utilized. They only get to look at it from the after it's been spent type of thing, because I know many of other good projects that some of these funds could have gone to, and how they were unequally spent. And so that's one of the things that we need to rectify in this district somehow, some way.
Very well. I wanted to just thank you and thank your other committee members for the work that goes into that. I'm sure at times it can be dry, but I'm glad that there's good fiscal stewardship. I think what you mentioned earlier is key, that when there's transparency, then the public can feel good about supporting these kinds of measures. When we ask the public to do that, to know that there's their peers, their fellow folks from the community that are there looking at the expenditures of these funds, so that when we ask again, that we've had good stewardship over them. So that's really important. And one other thing, Kathy, we might consider, we have a monthly facilities meeting that is now a standing committee of the board, and maybe every other month or every third month, we can work out so it's not too impactful on you or your committee members. But if you'd want to send somebody to that, and then you can be involved on a little bit more on the forward, the front end of our facilities decisions, that would be something I think that would be appropriate, and we'd welcome your participation at that level.
I know some members have expressed the desire to be a little more involved in the front end, and that may be a good opportunity for them to do so. So I appreciate the offer.
Great. Well, we'll bring that. Let's just put that on the agenda for the next facilities committee meeting, and we can discuss that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yay, Rachel. Can you reverse this?
Yeah.
She's still here.
Yeah. And we know a good volunteer never goes unvolunteered for something, Rachel. So don't think you're going far. I'm sure we can find something that we're going to need you for. Maybe we can continue going out of order and move down to 10.7. Actually, we should arrange our agendas in the future, so when we have folks from the public presenting, we can put them at the beginning. But why don't we move to do the resolution 2910? So we can bring up our week of the school administrator. We have someone who's here. Okay. Yeah, so thank you for your patience in joining us here. The board meeting, we won't make you spend another half hour sitting in the audience listening to our
Try to stay awake.
very important work.
My name is Judy Montgomery, principal at Montseum Elementary and new UPE president. So on behalf of all my colleagues who are here in spirit, thank you. Thank you for recognizing us.
Well, let me bring down this resolution, but there's many wonderful whereases, but resolve that all school leaders be commended for the contributions they make to successful student achievement. So it can't happen without you. And so thank you on behalf of the board and to all your fellow principals and administrators.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll go back on a schedule here to 10.4.
I think we need to approve the resolution.
Oh,
It's an action
sorry.
item.
Well, do I have a motion to approve the resolution 2910? A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. Very good. We're an approved resolution now that you're carrying out of the room. We will go back to 10.4. Ms. Allen, monthly facilities update.
And can we get, sorry. So last time we were here, we said we'd bring back a little bit more information on what happened during Green Week, which, as you recall, you guys did a proclamation to basically the first full week in October of every year will be Green Week. And Rachel couldn't be here tonight. Rachel King, our Project Green specialist, she was kicking off this year's Project Green program over at Washington Elementary. So the recap for Green Week, we had an awful lot of participants. Actually, 6 out of 7 board trustee areas participated, which was nice. Many schools participated in the International Walk to School Day, and we had all of our elementaries participate in the Green Salad Bar. Mondays was a focus on energy. We were fortunate to have Good Day Sacramento at Camellia Elementary. We had a live visit, which was even better, so something that showed early in the morning with the elementary students in Ms. Alana Butterworth's classroom. And then they also participated in an activity called Kilowatt, which is obviously a cute name for our program. I was figuring out how should I read that without it sounding kind of off anyway. And they showcased produce that was grown in their garden that they have on site. So Tuesday was about trash and waste. So we had Kit Carson invited Republic Services, which is our trash hauler, to conduct a waste audit with their after-school program. And then students at Nicholas Elementary organized a trash pickup day around their campus. And on Wednesday was International Walk to School Day. Good Day Sacramento was also present for this event at Crocker Riverside. Students competed to see which classroom got the most walkers, and then the winner gets to display the golden shoe all year long. And I believe our superintendent was in attendance at this event as well. And then Thursday, if you recall, was Farm to School and also Wear Green. Some of us wore green. Again, all K-8 schools participated in a green salad bar featuring local produce, including lettuce and grapes and broccoli and peas. Kitchen staff at Theodore Julia, this particular individual, Andrea Hernandez, shows off an Eat Green poster that we had posted on various sites. And then students and staff across the district wore green to show their support. Friday was Fresh Air Day. Don't know how many of you have known that we've been participating in this program for a little over a year now, so the green flag on the bottom means the air quality was quite good that day. A few of the sites have been doing this. It's rolling out kind of slow. It was easy to do it here. Some sites we don't have flagpoles that are sturdy enough to handle another flag. So working on that, and we'll eventually get it down. Works out real well. We get a phone call the night before to let us know what the air quality is for the next day, and then the custodian comes in first thing in the morning and and puts the appropriate colored flag up. Also over at Judah, we had a parent and a California Fuel Cell Partnership representative, Bill Elric, who organized a hydrogen car demonstration for kindergarten students. That was obviously quite fun. And then it culminated on Saturday with a Green Apple Day of Service. We've been a partner with the Center for Green Schools for many years, so we enjoy doing this every year. I think you see one of your future board members up on the screen as well. This year, students and parents and community members helped clean up some of our garden spaces around the district, and Camellia Elementary alone had over 65 parents volunteer. So very successful day for Saturday. And those were the highlights of our Green Week. So see, only look at that, 4 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so do we have any public comment? Do we have any more board comments? Seeing none? Okay, thank you. All right, so do you want me to do this?
My rules, am I supposed to say here? Okay.
Jumped in.
And
You
Jay's
didn't
back.
tell me to- you didn't
And
tell
Jay is back.
anybody.
So moving on to item 10.6, the Board Uniform Complaint Procedures, Board Policy 1312.3. And I'll hand it back over to you, Jay.
Coordinated with your stuff, Jay.
I'm learning.
Good evening, Board and Deputy Superintendent. Raul Bozio, Legal Services Department here. We have for your consideration tonight our revised uniform complaint policy. As shown on your executive summary page, a number of new laws passed over the last year or so require that new items be listed in the district's board policy, in its uniform complaint policy. Those include the listing of one's right to bring a complaint should the district fail to provide the rights for accommodations for lactating students, educational rights of foster and homeless youth, assignments of students to courses without educational content for more than 1 week per semester, the physical education instructional minutes requirements of elementary schools. Those are the primary additions this year to the policy. It is a policy that needs frequent updating every year or so to make sure it maintains its requirements with Ed Code and with Title V of the regulations. This year's federal program monitoring review will review this policy as well as our anti-discrimination policies as well. So it's important that we do update it and keep it in compliance with current law. And furthermore, we've updated this policy to make sure that it's consistent, that it's the same as our CSBA gamut model policy, so that going forward, as new revisions are required on a yearly basis or so, that we will make sure that we can continue to follow the model policy and keep up with all the new changes that do take place to this. Are there any questions that I can assist with?
Any public comment? Member Rodriguez.
I just want to thank you, Mr. Bozio, for bringing it and doing it in the process that it should be done. So then with that, I know that you're going through a review of all of our policies right now. Which ones are we going to be seeing that are connected to this one in the future?
Well, in the future, we've got a number of policies that should be updated. Our discrimination policies have been updated relatively recently, so those won't require too much. We've got a wellness policy that's on the pipeline there. We've got a few HR policies. We've got a policy from our business accounting department looking at our procedures for accepting funds and gifts and so forth from charitable contributions and the like. We've got a number of different policies that we need to continue to keep our eye on and continue to revise.
Thank you again for your hard work
You're welcome.
And ensuring that they're compliant. And I think gamut is probably the best, and complying with CSBA, because then you can get that regular routine.
It is a
system
great
of updating.
resource. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know that we weren't always there, and I'm glad to hear that we're there now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Okay. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, we are on 11.0, receiving information on our business and financial reports. In receipt. Reports are received. Thank you very much. It looks like we're going, yeah, our future board meetings, November 3rd, November 17th. I believe that a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I think you are re-adjourning into closed session.
Correct. Okay, so we're, yes, so we will.
You can also reopen the open session upstairs.
Okay, very well.
Instead of
So
coming
would be a
down here.
motion to adjourn to closed session?
Yes, you can adjourn to closed session here, go into closed session, open session up there, and adjourn for the night.
Roses, would you like to make a motion to adjourn to closed session?
Motion to adjourn to closed session.
A second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Very good, the ayes have it. Thank you.